To be staying too lit to quit, bruh. Whatever it is you doing. And today we're gonna be trying out some reaction videos, man. Checking out what my YouTube feed's gonna feed me. So see what the difference is between my home feed and y'all's home feed. Stay too lit to quit, man. This one's gonna be talking about the new Battlefield 6 coming out, bruh. And see if it's gonna be the Call of Duty killer. Let's see.
For the past week, I have been getting more excited for Battlefield 6.
Ooh,
It has
check
been a
this out.
long time since I really seriously got into a Battlefield game, and I watched the event just like everybody else did with astonishment and actually
Speed
some
it up.
excitement. But then I noticed something
1.5.
that caught my eye, and it was something that I kind of wanted to talk about, and it is...
Got this, right? You guys are not gonna have something? Respawn right here. Is that how this works? Well, can I spawn on my beacon? I can. That's kind of interesting.
I'm prone.
what I'm calling the Call of Duty streamer fatigue. These are guys and gals who have been playing Call of Duty Warzone for the past 5 years, almost nothing else, just to drive up some type of content or entertainment, such as Tim the Tatman and others. Now, while Tim may be funny for other reasons other than his skill, I know he was good at, or is good at, Overwatch. His character has more turned into a laughable comedic role because of his outrageous reactions. But other Call of Duty streamers were invited to this Battlefield 6 event, and something kind of poked out at me. And I wasn't the only one to notice either. There has been a couple of people pointing out that they invited Call of Duty streamers who were playing Battlefield as if it was Call of Duty Warzone. And that is not the case. Battlefield is somewhere in between a Call of Duty and, for me, a squad or Hell Let Loose. You need to play strategic as a team to capture points on the map, but at the same time, you can run and gun if you want to, just you may run into the...
Yeah, that's the thing that you guys gotta understand about Call of Duty, man. All these Warzone streamers running out there, running and gunning, that ain't real life, bruh. And if it is real life, very few people could actually do that, bruh. Because, you only have, there's no respawn in real life, bruh. That's right. It be looking fake as hell sometimes, bruh. How, like, Call of Duty is right now. But if you play as an objective, that's what I think Battlefield is. You gotta play as an objective, bruh. Like,
the entire
can't be
rest
going
of the
solo
team, and
dolo.
you make it got. So
Get your
slower
butt rocked.
movements, more tactical, strategic movements is rewarded a little bit more inside of Battlefield than in Call of Duty Warzone, where it is outlandish, run, gun, snipe fast, blah, blah, blah. And that's the way that the games have always been played, in my opinion. It has always been Call of Duty is for sniping, quick fire stuff like that, quick scoping, big plays like that. Battlefield is the slow, methodic, capture the point, teamwork, sort of. Again, not as hardcore teamwork as Squad or Hell Let Loose, which, by the way, Hell Let Loose is one of my favorite games in the past. God, I don't know how many years it's been out, but I have enjoyed this game greatly. So much so, I have put around 600 hours into Hell Let Loose, and I don't even play the game the last couple years, but we're getting a little hooked on it right now again. And just to show off
The
my
hell have I
pedigree
ever
with
heard of that game?
Battlefield, I am a veteran. Way back in the day, Battlefield 2, which I don't have a log for, I played. The biggest play sessions that I ever had to have been Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5. Battlefield 1, I did play on Xbox back in the day, and I have played a total of at least 4 days and 23 hours on the Xbox, and that's not including, how much time do I have on the EA app? That's not including 52 hours on the PC. I love Battlefield 1
Rookie
so much.
numbers.
So I have a total of 171 hours in Battlefield 1, but my biggest play session with Battlefield has to be with Battlefield 5. This used to be my Saturday morning coffee and cereal game that I would just hang out and play, and I have a total of 232 hours in Battlefield 5. Now, when Battlefield 2042 came out, I played 2 hours of it and turned it off and never played it again. I went back to Battlefield 5, or Battlefield 1. Also, lots of Medal of Honor multiplayer, and if you know, you know. I've always been a fan of this genre of big team battles. I've always dreamed of playing these big maps, especially while growing up on PS2, Medal of Honor Frontline, so on and so forth, as the original Call of Duty, and being a part of these larger battles, which again is why Hell Let Loose is my favorite game.
Bro, I
It's my
remember
favorite
Medal of
game.
Honor.
We'll see.
That's
But
what I
these Call
learned
of Duty
about
streamers
D-Day.
coming over to an environment that is completely
That's
different.
what made me interested
It's
in this war
twofold for me.
stuff.
I completely understand why EA invited these cats over to play. They're the biggest Call of Duty streamers. They're trying to imprint or put the gauntlet down to Activision, to the Call of Duty studios, and be like, this is us, we are here, and we have a united front with Battlefield Studios, which is like 4 or 5 studios, all built up to build this new Battlefield game. So by taking a lot of the Call of Duty content creators, bringing them over to Battlefield, and then they're piecing
Hell
out their
no.
streams and making separate content about it, it's a way to advertise your game, and maybe that is the way that you should be, considering most of the viewership on these streamers is younger men. But I am just getting tired of this
Hell no.
content creator.
Older men are coming back.
I don't know, like fakeness. You know, Vince
Like
Sempella
me, bro.
actually came by and talked to Tim for a second, and it was just a glowing review. I mean, I guess I'd be the same way in front of them. I don't know. I'm probably never going to be invited to one of these events to play early, to give my critiques, my real thoughts, especially on camera in front of a bunch of people. You don't want to put them down, I guess, if they flew you out, fed you a burger, and said, hey, play this game for 8 hours. But at the same time, I feel like the coverage for these guys is going to be like best loadout coverage or best tactic or best, you know, squad setup.
Oh,
that kind of
settings
content.
and stuff
And I
like
think
that.
that's the wrong thing to do, but I get why. It's just gonna feed the monster of attention on this game. Also, one thing I forgot to mention that makes me very annoyed is the shoutcasters while the games are actually going on. I, for some reason, cannot take it. I don't know anyone who enjoys it. I get it's supposed to cause excitement, but I could not care less, and I really just wanted them to be quiet and let the game talk for itself. But yeah, that's another thing that annoyed me. Maybe it's me. Let me know down below if you
Yeah, my
enjoy
boy just be
shoutcasting.
getting annoyed at everything,
That's not to say
man.
that all of them are just glazing the game, all these content creators. I have seen a couple who are a bit critical. Two that I saw that pointed out was Inside Games, which is Bruce Green and Lawrence Sontag from Funhouse back in the day. And Bruce has been a part of Battlefield Labs, so he's talked in depth on their channel. Be sure to check that out if you're interested. He talks about the good, he talks about the bad, he talks about all the
I think
glitches.
I played
and
Battlefield
it's more of a
3. That's the one I
journalistic
played a
approach
lot of.
versus just
Bad Company
content
or something like
approach.
that.
And that's what I appreciate. And
Or
again,
is it
maybe it's
Battlefield
because
2?
I'm old.
I don't know.
Maybe that's because that's the kind of content that I'm interested in. Is it good? Is it bad? Thoughts on the actual game versus, yeah, bro, I sniped this guy really well, man. The other one is Devil Dog Gamer. He's also he plays tactical shooters, a bunch of other shooters, and he was giving it some praise, but at the same time some critical analysis as well. I think he was at the event as well. So this is twofold. My just excitement for a new Battlefield. It's gonna be hopefully awesome. Hopefully we get to play it early this week. And then secondfold, like, are you over this content creator?
Hey, bring back
BS
those
fakeness?
those
And,
tight shots
like,
that
I
they
was
used
never
to
a
do
big fan
on
of Ninja and that whole crew with Courage and all of
on
them.
Battlefield,
I've just
bruh.
never been a big fan, but they seem like they have these really big viewership people. I don't know. It's crazy to even think about. I don't know. It just seems kind of fake, you know? Maybe I'm jaded. I don't know. But I am excited, and it had to do more with what I saw in the game versus who was talking over the gameplay of the game. But you saw a bunch of people like running around with knives, slide canceling. Like, I know they may have been testing the game and seeing what you're able to do, but trying to bring in those tactics into my Battlefield is going to be like peanut butter and anchovies, baby. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want quick sniping. I don't want stuff like that. I want some like solid military tactical
Nah,
stuff.
that
It's probably going to be
Battlefield
again,
is too
in the middle of the
realistic.
two.
I
It's going
remember
to
when
be
I
in-
first played, I was
as someone
like,
who wants
damn.
gets into Battlefield, they really, really dig it, but they want a little bit
Oh,
more of a
just
tactical,
bullet
serious
drop?
game. They then can get into a squad or a Hell Let Loose or something like that. And this might
COD
be a good
don't even know what bullet drop
introduction into a
is.
more tactical, serious military shooter. Oh yeah, another shout out, Ready or Not. That's more SWAT 4 type game, but another serious first-person shooter that is getting a lot of buzz right now, and it deserves it. I've been playing that game a lot. So what are your thoughts? Are you tired of content creators or the COD
Let's
bros
see.
getting into Battlefield or other things? Let me know. Let's have a discussion. And are you excited for Battlefield 6? Is this your jam? Have you been waiting for a good Battlefield game for a long time? Because Battlefield 2042...
Shout out to Nerd.
I'm sorry. And if you like the video, feel free to subscribe. Also, feel free to smash the like button. Thank you so much, and have a good day.
We'll give him a like. You know what I mean? Shout out to you, bro. Make your videos, man. Let's see what goes on. Ooh, this is what Battlefield look like, guys. Check this
Check
out.
E, they're not pushing from this angle.
It did that because I had it on 1.5.
Fire on this M4 build is actually insane. It's like the most versatile gun in the entire game.
Yeah, the M4 is insane. It's
That's what-
insane.
that's
It's
what my
So I
source
guess
said.
this is
It's insane.
beta. Let's see what it
Well,
looks
that's why
like.
it's insane.
Ah, hello, Lucky.
Nah, but I remember this is how like I think this is how you play Medal of Honor. It was like crazy hectic like this, bro.
Back. I saw my man dipping and diving.
Oh
into
yeah,
cover,
I'd
bro.
want to be a medic too. I think.
Oh, my name's shotgun. I know what's a shotgun that time.
Right, Lucky, it's time
Just
to,
IFC
time to push
doesn't
C.
up, I'm gonna...
Oh, wait, there's 4 of them out the back here. Oh my, what are they all doing back here?
Oh,
Don't know.
You got screwed,
Game's
Doing,
gone, mate. Oh, this is
bro.
a close match, man.
my boy.
Yeah,
How
this is
the hell
really-
has
this
the
is-
IFV ended down here?
Dude, C is...
Bro.
It's
Yeah, they're
C is
probably
the
playing
hardest of its
Conquest.
former self.
No one's
There's
reviving.
nothing left.
Fine. I'll just.
Yeah, that's
Oh, there's
conquest.
one
See,
guy on the point, one guy on the point, probably. Oh, you got it.
Already
And was he
knew.
also using a shot?
I was using a shotgun.
No,
so,
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
let's see. Wait, Battlefield 6 cheats are here? Oh hell no! Everybody don't like this guy. All the streamers don't like this fool.
I just got fucking permabanned.
575 to 478. Say, it's been incredible. So far, I haven't seen any signs of cheating in my matches, and that's been a pleasant surprise. But, and unfortunately, there is a but. Despite the systems in place to prevent cheating, some cheats have already slipped through. Now, before anyone freaks out, let me explain something important. This is a beta. The anti-cheat is still in learning mode. It's collecting data, analyzing
Oh, the
behavior,
AI
and
is gonna
adapting.
learn all you
That's how
little
these systems work.
cheaters.
It's always a cat and mouse game. Every
I
online
forget
game has
AI
cheaters.
can
What matters
AI
is how
can
the
catch
anti-cheat
these
team
cheaters,
responds.
bro.
Just like Ricochet in Call of Duty or easy anti-cheat
like
in other
it.
games, the issue is that Battlefield's anti-cheat only kicks in when the game starts. That leaves a window for cheats to inject themselves right before the game starts, completely undetected. The best way to fix this? Either run the anti-cheat kernel at system boot, like Riot's Vanguard does. Yes, it is very evasive, I get that. But if you want to play without any anti-cheat deep in your system, play console. That's my personal choice anyway. We have to stand out PC players using cheats, and this is the only way forward. Or rely on Windows Defender features like memory integrity and smart app control to help block malicious programs before they even run. Now, with all that said, have you seen any cheating? Because I haven't. Give the anti-cheat developers a chance. It's brand new, and so far they're doing everything.
I had a feeling once they stop crossplay, maybe there won't be as many PC players. Maybe there's gonna be like let's say if there's, I think console will stick to console. It'll just make it easier for console players because PC be dominating on, like, if it's cross-playing, bro.
Right.
They'll just
Even with these
react
early cheats
faster
floating
than
around,
us.
there's no real incentive to use them in Battlefield. There are no big prize pools like Warzone or Call of Duty. There's no tournament cloud on the line. Right now, it's all hype because it's a brand new game. I truly believe the cheating problem won't be a serious issue once the full game launches. But Call of Duty? Yeah. That game will be absolutely infested. Ricochet is taking a similar step, enabling TPM 2.0 and secure boot
All of
starting
a
with the launch
sudden,
of Black Ops
Ricochet
7.
want to do
It's
something.
live now in Season 5, but
Basura.
not mandatory. But just like Battlefield's anti-cheat, there's still one major issue. Unless the kernel driver starts running at system boot, it's going to be the same story all over again. Cheats loading before the game even starts, with nothing there to catch them. And let's be real, this is Call of Duty we're talking about. Activision pours massive money into Warzone streamers just to keep the hype machine rolling. They're playing a first-person shooter with a Beavis and Butthead skin, firing a banana gun, and still calling themselves
Lame.
Warzone pros. It's a circus over there. Now, if you're a serious gamer, someone who wants a proper shooter built on solid mechanics and relatively unchanged in its core for decades, stick with Battlefield. If you want a game that's been turned
I
into a
played
theme park
Battlefield
ride for
1, I
9-year-olds,
think I
entirely
liked
shaped
it.
by whatever streamers demand, stay with Call of Duty. Cheating is a problem in every game. That's just a fact. But if you see a few cheaters in Battlefield, expect 1,000 more in Call of Duty. Kids use cheats. That's just how it is. And Call of Duty is packed with squeaky little children who think wall hacks make them competitive. It's a game for kids, so that's the truth. So yeah, please survive in the beta, but it is what it is. Let's hope the anti-cheat team takes a look at the data and responds accordingly. I'm sure they will. Not a big deal. Please be sure to like the video, and I'll be sure to keep you all updated on any new developments.
Well, thank you, Call of Shame.
I'm Call of Shame. God bless every one of you on the other side of the screen.
Let's see what else is gonna feed me. Hey, how come it's telling me this? Let's go, coach.
Let's get into it. Coach Colin here. What's going on, guys? Man, gonna do a video right now on how Hollywood works. You know, I've worked in Hollywood. I worked film and television, worked for
1.75,
major
guys.
studios. I started like straight up at the bottom, watching pylons and parking lots, and grew to doing locations and location scouting, which basically you just find places, take pictures, and be like, "Is this good?" And then if it's good, then they shoot the video or the movie or the TV show there. And then set design, where I was doing that. It's called set work, set deck, decorating the sets and stuff. Grip work, which is basically setting up lights and different stuff like that. I had to get into it deeper, but I've worked in it, and I know exactly what it feels like. And it's the same reason why when I'm talking to my buddy, various comedians, and we're talking about whatever big comedian, and we're just talking about all this stuff going on in Hollywood. I always say there's no one to look up to, man, because when you start creating, there's all these people that you look up to, right? You're like, oh man, Casey, nice stat, and this and that, and you're naming all these people, and Dave, and this and that. You're naming all these people from all these different walks of life, and you're thinking these are the people to look up to. And slowly, as you get into the industry, and I do stand up as well, there's that area of Hollywood entertainment as well. I mean, you start to look around, there's no one to look up to, you know? And then years go by and all the stuff that's unfolded unfolds, you know, Diddy's like going home soon or something like that. And then you realize they're all the degenerates. And then you see the symbolism and you're like, what is this? I did a podcast with a dude who's an occultist. And even he was like, Hollywood's disgusting. I was like, I thought you'd be right along with these guys. And he was like, what? He's like, no. He's like, they worship debauchery. They worship the epitome of evil. I was like, what? This dude had a pentagram on his hat and he's looking at me saying that. I'm like, that's how bad Hollywood is. That people who have pentagrams on their hats are like, that's absolutely disgusting what they're doing. Are you kidding me? That's how bad it is, man. The mentality is even worse. That's the thing. You know, the stars that you see, they're not exactly what they look like. They look like they're really big stars. They look like they're really something monumental. But you know what I compare it to? You know, back in the day, Paris Hilton, she used to have, like, I remember seeing it. It was like a dog, her little dog. Let's go, Paris Hilton dog.
It was a little chihuahua. I remember.
Yeah, you heard that right. It was a crazy looking purse that she had, and it was just a dog house, but it was a purse. Where is it? Can I find it? Damn, I can't find it. I guess that's something like that.
It was with her little chihuahua.
It was a ridiculous. It was like the size of a dollhouse, and it was just her purse. It was just like where her dog stayed, you know. But I mean, just for the example, I mean, most celebrities are this. Let me just pull this up here. You can't load. Why can't you load? As soon as I'm trying to make a point, you can't load. All right. Well, I was gonna say most celebrities are this. Not her. Not her. Most celebrities are this. And what's holding them is this big corporation. It's like, it's not even just one person. It's managers, talent agencies, publishers, you know, just assistants.
Hey, this guy dropping some game.
This big machine that just holds them like this. And they're just like that. I'm telling you, man, they're not.
Tell like it is, coach. Tell like it is.
And that's just what we can see. You know what I mean? I didn't go to any weird parties or anything. I'm not a fly on the wall and, you know, with Harvey Weinstein, all that weird stuff. That's just the part we can see. The part that we hear and they speculate about and there's cases about. It's even worse. I'm telling you, man. How many guys, how many rappers went and hung out with Diddy? Who knows? But you know what we do know? His wife, at the time, would be with different guys, and she would take what they would give when they're done in that act, you know, and she would take it into another room and rub it on his nipples. What? Are you kidding me? You think a guy who has that going on with as much power as he did, you think he wasn't taking rappers? You think he wasn't taking rappers out back? You think he wasn't taking basketball players out back? You think he wasn't taking like mayors and stuff of New York out back? How do you think he got the key to the city? How do you get the key to the city? He hasn't even done that much. For the community, for the city, he hasn't done that much at all. How do you get the key to the city? How do you get the key to the city? Donald Trump doesn't have the key to the city. How does that make sense? Because he's getting people in these weird positions, man.
Hey, this man's just spitting. He just said, how did he get the keys to the city when he don't even do nothing? That's hilarious. And he's saying, how come Donald Trump hasn't gotten keys to the city and he's a president?
I mean that in all ways you can possibly think of.
That's hilarious.
You know, yeah, I was listening to this here, and Adam Carolla. It's funny, somebody was hating on me in the comment section of my other channel, my bigger channel. And they're like, you could be our Adam Carolla. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? And then later on, I stumbled onto this clip. And I was like, oh, maybe this is what they're talking about. I don't know. It's funny. Even the haters can teach you things. But listen to his depiction of Hollywood.
Even the haters can teach you things.
Metaphorically. And we got the Chiefs and we got the
I
Eagles.
like that.
And at some point, somebody goes, who do you like? And you go, I like the Eagles. And someone goes, yeah, not a good, wrong answer. And then you go, why? And they go, well, the guy's casting the movie and the guy's directing the movie and the guy, Ted Sarandos, is married to a Chiefs fan. So the guy runs Netflix, wife is a hardcore Chiefs fan. And then you go, oh, but I like the Eagles. And they go, yeah, I know, but his wife is a huge Chiefs fan and Ted, you know, he's not going to hire an Eagles. And then next thing you know, magically, 100% of Hollywood is a Chiefs fan. And you go, well, how could that happen? I mean, how did 100% of Hollywood come down on, if you took the 10 bullet points of COVID, whether it was where it emanated from, was it a lab, was it a wet market, do masks work, does social distancing work, does ivermectin work? If you took all 10 of those, Hollywood was 10 for 10 on every single one of them. Nobody in Hollywood went, I think ivermectin's a good thing. They're cowards, they're hypocrites, they're pussies, but they're also vying.
All right, for those of you that don't know who Adam Carolla is, if you know who Jimmy Kimmel is, they used to have a show together back in the days called The Man Show. And you know, I'll leave it at that, man. That's how I know Adam Carolla.
For a job
and
that they
Jimmy
don't have.
Kimmel.
You have to be popular. You're not going to get a job. They'll throw you out. They don't need you. They don't need anybody in Hollywood.
But it also seems like they actually believe what they're saying. I mean, you have these
They're
things where, like,
actors.
the Zoom thing with like all of these actors telling you, you know, put on your mask and do this and do that.
Yes.
And I don't even have a strong opinion on it, but it was interesting that it seemed like they're so passionate about it. They go to these award ceremonies, and when they have the mic finally in their hands, they go and they want to share their political agenda. And I'm like, well, I feel like no one's forcing you to do that.
Let's go back to Ted Sarandos and Netflix and his wife, who's a huge Chiefs fan, right? You could say, I'm an Eagles fan, and tell Ted and tell his wife I'm a huge Eagles fan, in which case you'll never get another job. Or you could say, tell Ted and his wife is a Chiefs fan. I don't really like football. Like, I'm agnostic. Like, I don't really care who wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe you get.
I don't care about football like that.
Or you could
I
go
don't have
get
a
a Chiefs
favorite
jersey
team.
and wear it to the next party that Ted and his wife invite you to, and then do a little soliloquy on how much you love Patrick Mahomes, and then you would get a job, or at least your chances of getting a job would go up a lot more. So when you see these people making their proclamations, if you are just silent,
100%. That is exactly how it works. I'm telling you, I've worked it. It's there. You know what's happening when you're working film and television? I'm sure it's even worse for actors. It's bad for us too. You're vying for a job that you don't have. Even when you're on the job, you've gotten work. You're on a movie. You're working for the next few months. That whole time, every interaction is you campaigning for more work. That's it. That's all it is. Even though we're part of this union, I'm part of the Directors Guild.
That's how I feel about the cannabis industry. What he's describing is just like Hollywood, bro. Same thing, same monster, different
I'm part of the
category.
film workers union. I'm a part of these unions. It's still like that. There's no guarantees. They'll call you and whatnot. But let me tell you something. You say you do what he's saying. You do something wrong, and that union that's supposed to call you when something opens up, they just won't call you because somebody who's like a team lead or a key or whatever will be like, you know what? No, not that guy. Well, the next guy. I want this guy. And in fact, if you do what he said on the positive side and you say, hey, I'm a Chiefs fan. Oh, I've always loved the Chiefs. This is the greatest team ever. And you start crying about it and everything like that. You do that whole over-the-top acting thing. Then the keys, they will actually call you. They will make sure that when they contact the union, they'll say, I want this guy. Yeah, I want Colin. Yeah. That's the guy I need. I need him. If he's open, that's the guy I need. I don't.
Wow. So I guess that's what they mean about play your part, bro. Fake it, yo. Like, even if you don't like what they like, I guess you gotta like it.
I want it to go through.
That's
I'm
crazy.
I'm reaching down and I want that guy. And now you have a lot of work.
That's how you make it
And
in
it
the
doesn't
world.
just go for your stance on things politically. It also goes for what you're willing to do behind closed doors. That's a real thing too. You know it's a real thing. There's been court cases about it. There's a dude in jail right now because of it. Another dude was about to go to jail. He's going home because of things like that. One guy is gone, and apparently he was a hoax the whole time, and he never really did anything, and his partner's in jail for no reason. We've seen this. It's a real thing, man. They really want you to do that. So you're constantly pushed into a position where you have to say yes to everything, and no becomes the most negative thing possible. Which is why you'll see Colbert dancing around, and he's dancing around with a bunch of syringes, and he's like, and he's telling the president to go F himself. It's not because he doesn't really believe in any of that politically. It was the thing to do, and he's working for a company that has this political leaning, and they're like, wouldn't it be great if Steven did that kind of thing? And Steven's just doing it. Steven's getting paid $16 million a year?
Hey.
So of course he's doing it. I'm sure the first year he started, because it always happens like this, he's probably getting paid a couple mil. You know, oh, we don't really know. It's a good opportunity for you, Steve. I mean, you're not on the Colbert anymore, and you know, there's no things going on. I mean, I think this would be a good opportunity, steady work, and to be a part of the late night history. That's how it starts. And then he's willing to do the things. He's willing to say the things. And then when negotiations come up, they say, okay, how about $5 million for a couple of years? And he's still willing to do the thing, and he's dancing around with syringes and stuff and all that stuff. And then they're like, you know what, Steven? How about $10 million? He knows why he's getting it. He knows the little nudges that he's getting. He knows how to walk the line. And that's why it ends up like that. And that's why you see all these actors always doing things like this. Yeah, like Adam hit it on the head. How are they all aligned all the time? It's because there's a few people who are kingmakers, and they just say, this is the thing I like now. And they go, okay. If they say, it's people at the top go, Orange Man bad. And they all go, Orange Man is bad. You know what? I've always hated Orange Man. You know what? I hated him the most. I never liked him, even when people did. How about that? I'm going to leave the country. I'm also going to leave the country. You remember that? And then you ask yourself, why didn't they leave the country? Because they're just saying things. They're just saying whatever. Because you know what happens also?
Hey.
It's not just them. They're meat puppets. The actors are just meat.
He makes a lot of sense, bro.
They're just doing what they're trying to do.
Makes a lot of sense.
They're just constantly groveling, trying to get jobs. They're meat puppets. Even when they're big actors, larger than life, you look up to them, your favorite movies, they're meat puppets. That's all they are. They just do pretend. That's it. But there's another layer to it as well. When it comes to this whole thing, you know, they also, I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to talk about another layer of what they have to do to get jobs. You know, this is happening right now on this podcast, and this is my smaller channel, so it's okay. But I'm always working myself into a state of anxiety where I think about possibly getting on Joe Rogan's podcast one day and this happening. And if it does, I'm just going to get up and leave. It's the most terrifying thing to me. There's nothing more terrifying than just talking and just forgetting. And then the other person has to just pick up the pieces of your shattered mush brain, you know? Sorry to put that on you guys. But anyway, the whole thing of Hollywood, it's so debaucherous, you know, at the end of the day. You know, that's the real stuff that happens. And I'm so glad to be out of it. You know, I'm so glad I got kicked out. You know how I got kicked out? I was on this movie, and this dude, I was working with this dude for the first time, and this dude was like known, right? Working on this movie, this dude's like known. He's my boss. And this guy's doing drugs, like all the time. All the time he's doing drugs. I didn't know at first. He just seemed like a cool guy. He always wanted to like smoke joints with me and stuff. But I was like, I'm not somebody, I don't smoke on the job. And it's not because I'm an angel. It's because back when I used to smoke, I'd like to sit. I'm not somebody who likes to smoke and do things. I want to lay down after. That's just how I am. So I'd be like, no. I didn't realize how much he was doing. He was doing it all the time. And it got to the point where he wasn't just doing that. He was doing other stuff too. And he was sleeping late, and he was in the middle of a divorce. And this is how Hollywood works, because everybody's getting divorced all the time because you're working 18-hour days, and no logical person who's not in film and television is going to put up with this. Lucky for me, my wife was in the restaurant industry. She was my girlfriend at the time. She was in the restaurant industry. I was in the film industry. We understood wild hours, so we were fine with it, and we would always talk. But this guy's in the middle of a divorce, right? He's getting divorced. It was crazy. Now, he's my upper boss. The guy lower, who's the assistant to him, he brought his girlfriend onto the job. She's working directly with me. They are fighting like nothing I've ever seen. Like Diddy when he was fighting his girlfriend at the elevator. Like, they're just ridiculously fighting. I actually recorded it once because I was like, I'm gonna need evidence. This is crazy. I'm like, something's gonna happen. So they're fighting. The boss is doing drugs. It's getting crazy. I'm the only one working. I'm working with these kids. You know, we get kids from the neighborhood, because when you do a film and you're just in some neighborhood, everybody in the neighborhood hates you. They hate the person who rented out their house to you. They hate you. They don't want you here. It's like construction, but terrible. It's like the construction, but everybody's a degenerate and everybody is entitled.
This guy's
it's just terrible when they come to your neighborhood. So we'd always get the young people of the neighborhood to work with us, and then they could go to doors, and it'd be like a liaison type of thing with the community. So I just have them. That's it. The girlfriend doesn't have to work. She's able to do whatever she wants. She just screws off whenever she wants. The guy's so stressed out. That's the boyfriend. He's gone. Old guy too. He's gone. By the end of it, the guy's walking with a cane. No idea what happened to him. Somehow he fell, messed up, this, that. And on top of that, his son's going through a bunch of stuff. He says his son tries to off himself. I'm like, what is this? It was the worst thing ever. So this guy, the top boss and the lower boss, they're both disappearing. One can't really walk. The other one's on drugs. So it's all left on me because the girlfriend is just insufferable to everyone who interacts with her. I'm not even making it up. Everybody didn't like her. And she knew it too. You ever meet one of those people where they know no one likes them and they're just like, I don't care. She was one of those people. It was wild. So it was terrible. So I have to do the job of my job and their jobs as well. So it got really, really hard. It got to the point where I was in tears. I remember I was in front of this woke lady, the production manager, and I'm like in tears. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I also don't want to say the situation. Everybody knows he's on drugs, but nobody's willing to do anything about it. You know why? Because he's high up and he knows producers. And that's part of the Hollywood conditioning. He knows producers. So no one wants to step in and say, hey, don't be like this here. Oh man, it was such a wild job. And it got to the point where he started taking the kids. They were like teenagers, but he started taking them and getting high with them. He started taking them out and doing stuff with them, getting them drunk and stuff, all sorts of stuff. It was crazy.
My boy,
guy's just wallowing. Crazy. He can't see his kids. He's getting divorced. He's wallowing, getting them drunk, getting them high. There's a girl. I don't know how old the girl was, but he ended up taking her to his hotel room. I mean, this is just what you hear about Hollywood that they say are just theories. It's just tinfoil nonsense. It's 100% true. It's 100% true. I don't know what he did with that girl. I have no idea. Those young guys, they just told me that she went with him to his hotel.
Because that's what this guy's saying. That's not what I know.
But, and then one of them actually told me, real quiet one. He's like, I just want to tell you, this guy's been making roll joints for him. And I heard him talking to that girl. And he said he knew a bunch of producers and that he could get her into the acting world because she's trying to become an actor. He's like, and then that night they went off together. And he broke it all down for me. I was like, this guy's a dirtbag. This is crazy. Then on top of that, he's leaving more work for me. The other guy's using a cane to get around. He's not even showing up to the sites. When he does show up, he's just there for a little bit, completely stressed out. Never seen a man more stressed out. Terrible girlfriend. On top of that, he's trying to keep his son alive. Wild situation. I had sympathy for that guy, right? And I'm just trying to do the job. It was so hard. And I was so far from home. It was terrible. They keep you far from home. It's another thing that they do. Another weird mentality thing. Not only do they keep you for long hours, but if they can, they'll put you up in hotel rooms and it keeps you away from your family if you have one. It's weird. You're just around them. It is very cultish. That's why you see it operate like a cult, because they actually do operate like one. It's very odd. There are some actors that you see, The Rock, I think I brought this up before. In 2016, The Rock was scheduled to be in movies up till 2026. He just had all his movies laid out for 10 years. For 10 years. Like he doesn't really get time off in that time. And if you do, it's like a month here, a month there. It's crazy. I remember one time I met Joaquin Phoenix. He was coming to see his wife because his wife's on a movie. He's in a movie. At the time, he didn't know it was the Joker he was doing. He comes to visit her, sees his son for a couple hours, and he has to go back. And then he's just gone, and she's gone, and we were on that movie for like 4 months. Like, that's the life. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I haven't even put on my tinfoil Speedo towards the actual brain manipulation these people go through, because there is some of that too. I could get deep into that if you want, but I won't. Not right now. But it's like, they brainwash them in weird ways. But yeah, man, it was a terrible, terrible movie. And it got to the point where the head boss, he knew what I was doing. He knew everybody knew. So he called one of his guys. His guy was like a biker type. And now it was getting to the point where they were threatening me a little bit here and there. Like little nudge threats, which happen in the film industry. It's actually not that abnormal. And they're doing drugs together. They're leaving huge messes for me, as like sending me a message that like, I'm going to do the work, and like there's nothing I can do about it. And it was just, whew, it was crazy. So after that, everybody can see what I'm dealing with. Everybody knows how terrible these guys are. This whole group of people that I'm worked up with, like I'm shacked up with here. Everyone can see it. So the last few days, I just leave, because it got to a point where they had set something up in terms of things for me to clean up, like a huge truck, just everything ripped out of a truck and just laid on the ground. And then I would have to clean that up. It would take like 3 hours. And I would have been at this place until like 3 in the morning. And I was like, oh, I can see what they're doing. And there was like a car set up. It was like gang stuff. Like I have street smarts. This was like a setup. It was a weird thing. There's just a car watching me over there. They're just watching me. They know that I have to clean this up. They're waiting till everybody leaves. I'm like, I know how this ends. This ends with me hurting 2 little guys, because it's like one guy's a little brown guy, the other guy's a little white guy. I'm like, I'm going to hurt these guys. That's what's going to end up happening. I'm going to be the bad guy. So I was like, I'm gone. I just left. That same day, same night, before I even get home, I get 5 calls from 5 different people, all telling me I'm not even working with them. Like you don't work with somebody specifically when you're in film and television. You're just on a crew, and sometimes you know the people and sometimes you don't. I get 5 different calls from people saying, oh man, like I just can't work with you anymore, man. Same thing. They got the call. Are you with the Chiefs or are you with this team? Which team are you with? They got the call. Can't work with you, man. And I'll be like, I'm like, oh, it's because of this guy, right? No, it has nothing to do with that. People just said, they're just saying you're unprofessional, and and I was like, okay. And it was 5 different people, 5 different departments. And I was like, okay, that's what's happening. And that wasn't even my last film. The last film, that same guy who was injured, he's actually a pretty good guy. He calls me up after, and he says, I want to make it up to you. He's like, I brought you on that terrible show. He goes, I brought you around coke addicts and all sorts of stuff. I didn't know. He goes, I got a real slow moving movie. We're in 2 locations. That's it. He goes, you can just spend time in your car, call your girl. He's like, I just want you to be there. I want to make it up to you. And that was it. That was the last movie I was on. It's called Women Talking. It actually won an Oscar. It was great. Terrible premise for a movie, though. I'm not even.
I've never even heard that movie.
Terrible premise for a movie. But that was the last film I was on, and I was like a part of like the COVID team. Like it was weird, but yeah, man, it's such a wild little industry to be in. Like I got hit on by a dude when I was on that last movie. I got hit on by some guy, and I realized, right, because at this time, this is years ago, and the Diddy thing isn't out yet, and you know this is a thing that they do, but you don't see it until it actually confronts you. So this dude keeps hitting on me, like real open, like if I was a lady and he was a straight guy, people would be like, oh, we're gonna call the police on you. This guy, he didn't touch me or anything, because he would have got hurt. It would have been real bad.
This guy's story,
he's soft. I heard him. So
hilarious.
This guy's hitting on me, constantly hitting on me. And then the movie ends, and because there's a whole registry of everyone you're working with, because you got to be able to communicate. So there's phone numbers and emails and everything, from director all the way to the bottom. So he messages me, and he's like, I would love to see you again, and I would love to work with you. And I realized, I didn't do it, obviously. I realized, see, this is the point. This is where it happens. If I said yes, and I was one of these meat puppets, and I just went through and I just did whatever he wanted to do, I'd still be working to this day. I'd probably be a damn actor by now. Because you know what happens when it comes to this weird stuff that they do? Talking about how it's all real cultish. You know what ends up happening is that when you get put into one of those situations where you're, as Patrice O'Neal put it, walking into a dark room backwards. When you're doing that type of thing, right, it gets around, and people start to realize, oh, that's one of those people I can do that with. I can hold a part or a role or a job or a salary over this person, and they'll do whatever I want. It starts to get around, and I realize, I'm like, if I did that with that dude, and I don't do stuff like that, obviously, dudes, like what? If I did that, I would have started working. He would probably be a good friend to me, and we would be working together. And if I wanted to move up, he would help me, and I'd find someone else who was the same way. You know what I mean? You get passed around. So when you see these Hollywood people, is what I'm getting at. When you see them at the top of the top, buddy, they got passed around. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. It's a weird industry, man. It's a real weird industry.
In other words, he's saying The Rock got passed around, bruh. Dwayne Johnson got passed around, man.
Gotta stay away from it. That's why I made the shirts. I don't have one here that said "Sold Not for Sale." I would wear those shirts when I was on set. I would always wear one of those shirts that said "Sold Not for Sale." It's a little message just going out there. But
It was for his price to
it's real.
skyrocket.
All the theories, all the tinfoil stuff you hear when it comes to that industry, it's all real. It's all real. 100%.
That's
Like
crazy.
Cat Williams said, their job is to make it seem like it's not real. What did he say? He said after they sell their soul, their one job is to make it seem like they didn't sell their soul. Because if you knew that was what, if you knew everything I just said, if you knew that's how it went down, and that's, if you knew they sold their soul, they got passed around, all this stuff, you would veer away from it. But because it looks like it's just based on their merit and their charisma and et cetera, because it seems like that, that's something to aspire to. It seems like it's just all hard work, so that's something to aspire to. But
Appreciate you, my G. What's the next video? It's gonna be this bad boy.
Y'all, after a shaky start to Metro Boomin's A Futuristic Summer album release and the reception of it, partially, I wouldn't say led by Joe Budden, but Joe Budden wasn't too fond of it either. Covered this in a previous video. However, Metro Boomin has stated that he wants to pull up on Joe Budden now. So Joe Budden Metro Boomin initially retweeted a tweet by a fan that said, "I'm sorry, but the JBB, the Joe Budden podcast, ain't ready for this new Metro at all. Nah, they don't know black boy, white boy swag like that. That includes Shot Boys, Young Dro, Waka Flocka, Travis Porter, J Money, Rocco, Rich Kids, Roscoe Dash, shaking my damn head." So, and then he says, "A lot of y'all get no chicks and it shows." And a lot of people felt that this was him taking shots at Joe Budden. Like a page even put out Metro Boomin with some Joe smoke. And this was posted inside the Joe Budden TV Twitter group, Twitter community. And then Metro Boomin followed this up by saying the next day, saying, "Let's not do this. Big fan of the Joe Budden podcast, and I've been a regular viewer for years." I think this is really cool and dope for him to admit, because even people like Joe Budden probably don't know how many people that not are just within the industry, but how many artists watch their stuff and watch it, like, not religiously, but watch it consistently. Like, they might think, yeah, of course, they've seen the clips. We're one of the biggest podcasts, top 5 biggest podcasts, maybe in general, especially if those numbers are real that Joe Budden's talking about, but definitely top 5 biggest podcasts within hip hop. So for people to use this here clip, it's, of course, but to have somebody admit something like this it's exceedingly rare. You guys have no idea. Rappers and producers, I don't think they have much of an issue like showing love or letting somebody know that they mess with their content, but rappers, they see a lot, especially if it's about them. But here he's saying, "I'm even a subscriber on Patreon. I respect everything that was said up there, except Ish saying no girls are listening to this. Dog, are you crazy? LOL. All love." Now, I will say, having listened to this Metro Boomin album, when he's talking about that, Ish might be right in saying that no girls are listening to this. Grown women above the age of 30, yeah, they're probably listening to this. Chicks between the ages of 21 to 26, they're probably not listening to this. I don't think he's wrong in saying that, because where this album appeals to most is people from that region that enjoy going back in time with a modern producer. So I'm going to play you guys the clip that got Metro Boomin to react in this way from Joe Budden real quick, and then we're going to move into when he says he wants to pull up on him.
I got right to 2. This is what happened on 2. Don't worry, Parks. My review is pretty short, so you be ready to plug in.
Oh, no.
This is the first thing I heard.
I just wanted to give Ish
I didn't know nothing about no 2000s shit he was doing. And listen, for me, this was on some 6 in the morning shit. I'm listening to this.
Yeah, no, they ain't gonna do it.
Oh, that's when I skipped this. I went to the next track. This is what was going on in the next track. At this point, I figured that I wasn't listening in the right place.
That's what I thought. That's what I said.
So I cut this off and I went to the next track. At this point, I'm in track 4 in the album, and I'm saying, the Metro has one of my favorite producer tags. Which I shouldn't be saying if I'm at track 4.
I didn't say what I thought.
The Metro producer tag is hard.
Yeah.
Look, now this would be cool if I was with the first 3. But I'm still waiting for my vibe. All right. I got right out of there and went to track 5.
This sounds much like my listening experience.
I'm giving you my experience.
No, I think I was kind of the same.
Yeah. I went to track 5. I cut it off immediately, never to return to it.
Reasonable.
Now, I'm not saying that I won't return to
Made
it.
your coffee extra hot, some bullshit.
That was the end of my Metro Boomin experience. So if y'all
Damn,
have
Joe
more to
Budden,
add,
man.
please feel free.
I got to 6.
Unfiltered folk right there.
It's 13 tracks on disc 1. So then I was like, all right, maybe that's a good shit. Yeah, it's a lot. So I was like, all right, maybe that's a disc 1 type of thing. You know.
Now drop.
Cool. Let me go to track 1 on disc 2. Can you press it?
Oh, sure. There's a whole other disc.
This might be like an ode to Atlanta. Maybe Atlanta loves it. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. I applaud the
it's something different though.
He went for a thing, and I think that he executed the thing
perfectly.
I maybe just don't want to hear that thing this morning. I may feel differently if I hear it in a different environment.
And another thing I didn't like about this, Metro's not a rapper, one.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But it's a Metro Boomin album.
Right.
So we know.
Damn, they trashing on your boy Metro.
Yeah, they didn't put the names on nothing.
It's cool when, this is like I know Travis does that a lot, but I know I get Travis Scott on every album, then you get surprised by the feature.
Right.
Cool.
Yo, if you're a producer, put the names of the people on the song. Featuring like a decent human being is all we're saying. Come on now. Metro, come on.
It is particularly difficult with the producer album.
So this was the Joe Budden review, and I do think it's not too great to cut it off at 5 or 6 tracks. Like, at least give it a full listen. And I do think that Metro Boomin has earned the right to get a full listen to a project after how much good music he's put out. And I do think after that initial podcast episode, Joe Budden might have gone back and listened to the rest of the project. It is a double disc album. I'm almost done with it. I was like, because even for me, after the first 3 to 4 tracks, I sent out a tweet and I said, yo, this thing is basura. Like, this is absolute trash. And I continued listening because I was like, listen, Metro Boomin put a lot of effort into this. He's given me a lot of amazing music. Let me see if this gets better. And you're going to have to wait for my thoughts on that later. So Metro Boomin ends up tweeting the following. You do know we dropped 23 songs with no murder talk or explicit sexual lyrics, right? A futuristic summer. I think this was one of the important things to highlight because things like this, you don't notice unless you're told about it. And it's best if someone else says it than the actual artist or producer in this case. But regardless, I think it's important for us to, like, for example, like Russ's first album, like, you know, mixed, mastered, engineered, produced, written, all one person. And that album is, I think, multi-platinum. It's had multiple platinum hits on songs. That is a huge feat. Like, especially when I learned, like, you know, the whole double platinum with no features meme, that it became a meme by J. Cole. But things like that, it's better that we know about them. I think some people turn it into like a reason to hate and like that the artist is flexing, but I'd rather the artist flex them doing something difficult. Now, granted, some people are probably like, listen, maybe you should have talked about that stuff. And even if you did talk about that stuff, it would still be trash. But I think the more impressive part is him getting certain artists not to talk about that stuff on the songs. Like, for example, certain features that he's had, like Young Thug, who kind of isn't allowed. We don't even know what he's really allowed to talk about at this point, 21, etc. And then Academics TV, Academics' right-hand man. And I already released a video on this, but it's a little bit odd because Academics is kind of defending Metro Boomin, but Academics TV is right-hand man who he co-signs everything he says. He goes in on him and says, Metro Boomin tries to guilt trip people into listening to his album that tragically flopped by persuading them with moral cool points, claiming that there was no murder talk or explicit sexual lyrics. This is one of the great... Yo, people, this account is so funny because you see the lengths to... Like, this is Elastigirl types of reach. Like, he's trying to guilt people into listening to his album by persuading them with moral cool... I don't think any of this is real. I think he's just saying, hey, look, something that you've known people that hop on my beats to do, I made a whole project without doing any of that. And I think that's cool. However, he continues on, and Metro Boomin addresses the Joe Budden podcast and says, I'm trying to pull up to the JBP. I've always been a fan of the show and always wanted to do it, but I feel now is the perfect time. At Joe Budden, what's good, Virgo brother? And then Ian Schwartzman, who handles some of the business back end over there, says, shoot me a message so we can get you up. This is great. I think this is going to be an amazing, amazing podcast. The reason for that is as follows. A lot of these artists, they don't like being... There's this relationship that has developed, or that had developed back in the day where it's like, hey, look, people come up to a radio station, you don't give them Charlemagne was known to give difficult interviews, but a lot of the interviews was like, hey, you don't take things too far, and a lot of the radio hosts, they didn't give too much of their opinion if they're fond of an artist and wanted to maintain that relationship. But then you got this rise in media. Really, you could say it was led by Academics, but Academics and Joe Budden, who just didn't give a F. Joe Budden didn't give a F because he was like, yo, look, I'm done with this music industry. I don't need relationships. I'm doing my own thing. I'll say whatever I want, and that's my opinion. That's where we get a walkout moment like he did with Amigos. Even Academics at that point was trying to be cordial and get through an interview, and Joe Budden was like, man, screw this. I'm not dealing with this garbage. I don't have to deal with this. So we know that Joe Budden is somebody that is going to give his opinion directly to a person and to his audience, and he's not going to walk it back. This causes it to be difficult for these types of individuals to get guests, because the guest is like, hey, look, man, if I'm going to go on a platform that's going to show me in a favorable light versus going on your platform where you've spoken to me negatively, not only am I, quote unquote, doing you a solid because I'm hopping on your platform and it's going to up it because of my brand value, which is true, but I'm going to have to answer questions that I don't really want to have to deal with. And I think a lot of artists don't want to do press anyway. It's kind of like athletes. It's just a part of the job. So you get this weird space where the people that get the interviews that everybody wants are the ones that aren't asking hard questions. And they may be fun and entertaining interviews, but you're just like, well, none of the important stuff got asked because the people that were going to ask the important stuff didn't get the interview. Do you see how that works? But in this scenario, we get to have Metro Boomin pull up because now this would be, I would hope that this is the first interview and Joe Budden would ask him everything, because now we have a scenario where Metro Boomin can tell us why he made this album, what was the inspiration behind this album, how difficult was it to make this sound, considering it's so far from what Metro Boomin regularly makes as a producer, and he can explain to them what he was aiming to do and how it's being received in Atlanta. We need somebody to report from Atlanta, not just Metro Boomin. Frankly, we need, actually, hit my comment section. I know there's a lot of Atlanta people here. My Atlanta people that either go to clubs, you might be a young teen, you might be in your college years. Are people bumping this in Atlanta? Let me know. Let me know your title. So say like, hey, I'm a student, or hey, I'm in my 20s, I'm graduated and I'm working, or I'm in my 30s and this is how we're feeling about it outside, not you personally, or maybe like you're walking around and you're like, yo, this is actually creating real positive energy. So I want to get a report of that. But Metro Boomin will be able to give his own perspective on that. And then we can get a really, really nice back and forth, because it's also coming from a perspective of Metro Boomin as a fan of the show. So he likes the show. He already likes the dynamic that those guys have. And it's going to be not a hostile interview. Like, he doesn't have to feel like they're going to try to hit a gotcha moment on you. Like, I can actually have a conversation. And that's one positive thing about, well, there are a lot of positive things we can say about Joe Budden's podcast, but that's one of the many positive things about Joe Budden's podcast, is that despite him giving his pure opinion, which is sometimes quite brutal and entertaining for us, he is always having in-depth conversations with these artists and knows how to ask questions, because he's been a rapper. And I also think that is part of the reason why people mess with him more. Like, yo, you know what this is like. You know how hard this is. You know what it's like to get feedback. And I'm just really interested to see Metro Boomin's genuine reaction to him being received poorly, because that's not something that Metro Boomin is used to. He's been getting praise for the better part of 10 years. I think, what was it, the Double or Nothing album with who was that? Big Sean? That might have been the most negative review that Metro Boomin has ever got. And that wasn't even that bad of a negative review. A lot of people have mixed opinions on that album. This, you could really see it leans towards like, we're not messing with this. And how much does Metro Boomin care? So did Metro Boomin initially just think like, yo, this is for Atlanta, these people are not going to mess with this? Because if he did, then I don't think this bothers him that much. However, if he thought like, yo, I'm going to show these guys Atlanta, I'm going to take Atlanta to the world with this old style that was really just regional, then it seems like that fell flat. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Are you looking forward to this conversation? Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed.
That was a whole lot of shabla blah 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 going on. Let's see what else. Ooh, I don't know about all that one. Sheesh. See what we click on. F-Twitchy. What should we watch, huh? Maybe we should just wrap it up real quick. Since I can't really find nothing that I want to click on, you know? There's all just different stuff on there, bro. Oh, I'd want to watch that, but they might my censor and throw my stuff into the shadow realm, bro. Hey, but stay too lit to quit whatever it is you're doing, man. Because anything is possible when you stay too lit to quit, bruh. Yeah.